Let's begin. Hello everybody for this community call for Falco right after KubeCon. It was a really great event. We met a lot of people. Our discussions were amazing, and we drank a lot of Guinness. This community call is recorded, so if you don't want to show your face, just turn off your camera, and please be kind to each other. We follow the code of conduct of Sincere. Apparently, we don't have any highlights for this week, but we have 3 items in the agenda. So please, Leo, start.
Oh, yes. Before I start, I want to say it's I really love to see you again after we met last week, especially Mauro and also Vincente and other my colleagues from CSD. Also, of course, Thomas. We had a great week. Also, I want to say congrats to David, that is a new maintainer in the Falco Security organization.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
You're welcome. Okay, regarding my point in agenda, maybe can I share my screen?
Sure.
Okay, let me share my screen. The right one, I hope. Okay. Okay, just a brief introduction for folks that don't know already our adoption model. Basically, under the Falco Security organization, we have a repository that's called Evolution. This repository basically documents the evolution of the project under the Falco Security organization. Our adoption model is very simple. If someone wants just to test drive an idea or some code or thing like that, can open a request directly in this repository to be accepted as in a sandbox. In case someone need a repository, this usually happens when a tool needs to be released or something more complex. We have the incubating level, and last but not least, we have also the official support. Official support level basically is everything directly related to Falco. There is no written rules on how to become official supported, but I would say that the rule of thumbs is simple. Everything that Falco depends on must be officially supported. Also, if the user needs a tool to deploy Falco, for example, or to use Falco, that tool should be officially supported too. This because maintainers must take care of those projects during the release cycle of Falco. For example, the Helm chart. Think just the Helm chart. After the Falco release, usually we need to update the Helm chart too. In this way, users can deploy the latest version of Falco using the Helm chart. In this repository, you can also find the current status of all projects under the Falco Security organization, and you can see that basically we have only 3 projects that got the official support status. Since we have only these 3, but we know that there are other projects that de facto are official supported, in particular the Helm chart, because we already updated the Helm chart. We started updating and keep it updated, I believe, 2 years ago, and it has been always updated with the latest version of Falco. Same thing for the Kubernetes manifest file that, by the way, are automatically generated by the Helm chart, using the Helm chart. Basically, it's a Helm template, Helm render, I don't remember the command, something like that. We also have the new plugin registry that must be official supported because some plugins that are hosted inside the registry are bundled with Falco. So basically, we are shipping artifact inside the official Falco distribution. And last but not least, the plugin Go SDK, because those plugins are based on this SDK. So I talked a lot just to say this is mostly a formality, but it's correct in my opinion to do that because this is the way that we communicate with our users. Okay, by doing this, we are just saying, okay, this stuff, we will take care more about this stuff from now on. That's it.
Just a question, Leo, for following the procedure. Does it worth to add also Psychic in the official supported products, because it's now an important part of the ecosystem and it's really used in configuration with Falco? Same question with UI, but why this UI can be in incubation level for a long time again. But at least for Psychic, it's becoming.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so basically it became a key piece for Falco adoption for a lot of people.
I totally agree on that. I believe it's okay for Falco Sidekick to do that. Maybe one thing that we can improve is decide a precise release schedule or release cadence for Falco Sidekick. Okay, that of course it's not bonded with the Falco one, because usually you don't need a new Falco Sidekick release when we release Falco, but it's okay for me. I agree.
Especially because the M chart for Psychic is also in the chart repository, the same than in chart in the exporter. Exporter.
By the way, there is a detail on that, because usually the official status apply not directly to the repository, but to the things or the artifact the repository provides. So, for example, for the Helm chart repository, I just wrote that the Helm repository is officially supported. Okay, then each chart inherit its status by the project, by the related project. For example, if Falco is officially supported, also the Falcon chart is officially supported. Falco exporter, for example, is incubating. The Helm chart will be incubating too, and so on. But regarding Falco Sidekick, I agree, because it is also a part of the Falco history, and it always worked. So +1 for me. Maybe can you just open another issue for that?
Sure.
Okay.
I will, of course.
Thank you.
I'm strongly supportive of this initiative, honestly, especially for Sidekick and plugins. I think they both are part of the core functionality of Falco right now for the average user, and I think it's worth having them as main repositories publicly.
Thank you. By the way, last thing. Currently, we update Kubernetes manifest file with a cron job 1 time per week. One thing that I would like to improve is basically to update them every time a new Helm chart release is out, just to make the time shorter. Okay, I'm done.
Fede, you have the second point of today.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a quick update on the release, next Falco release. As of today, we should be able to say that libraries are frozen. So tomorrow we will set a new library version, in the Falco repository. and start possibly the builds of drivers for Falco, for next Falco release. I think that Leo and Jason will release the new version of plugins, and then we should have everything we need. We still need a single pull request on Falco, as far as I know, that should be merged soon, and then we should be ready to go. Basically, I'd expect around a week of testing before the actual release, but we are on target for the, let's say, first week of June for the release. So it's going pretty smoothly as of now. Let's hope it continues this way, please. We wanted to also merge the pull request from Gnosec. That was basically a huge factor of libscap, an initial huge factor of libscap. But we spotted a small bug this afternoon while testing it on Falcon. So I think that we will skip it for this for the current release, and instead merge it right after the release. Just to avoid any issue or anything like that.
Thank you, Fede. Fred asked a nice question in the chat. I will just tell it orally for everybody. We mentioned in last community calls we would like to tag and release the versions of libs for Falco, because currently libs are only related or used in Falco thanks to their commit ID and not with proper releases or tags. And because of the upcoming release of Falco 0.32, we choose to postpone the new tagging system for libs after the release of Falco. Sorry. So it will be.
Also, I wanted to add that Harm64 will not go into this release because of time, basically. We need just a little bit of more time to test, but I hope that there will be the possibility to do a 0.32.1 patch release, adding the Harm64 support and possibly the tag release for libraries. That would be great. I would want to let people wait 4 months to have Harm64 basically.
By the way, I want to add a quick update regarding the libs release. Basically, is everything in place, except I believe a couple of small things. One, of course, is DCI, because we have to set the DCI libs to that. Another one is that I'm not sure yet, but maybe we need a change in driver kit, because we will tag both the driver version but also the lib version in the same repository. So maybe driver kit need to understand which tag is the correct one. But this is a very small issue, we can solve it. And then we have to make a pull request in Falco to update the building system in Falco to use 2 different versions, one for the driver version, another one for the libs. But except for this task, everything is already in place. I already tried the Falco using a lib version and a different driver version, basically I simulate it. We decided to do not include do not include the versioning in this release, just to avoid to break something, because we don't have enough time to test everything. But if someone is willing to help immediately after the release, we can start testing the libs and driver versioning.
And just a remark about the ARM64 support. Someone in KubeCon last week asked me to add new outputs to Psychic, basically MQTT and Node-RED, and both are really used in IoT world. So with ARM64 support and the way to communicate between Falco and MQTT broker, it means with plugins we will be able to add Falco as an IoT component for cameras, lights, air conditioners, anything. So I like this idea. It could be nice demonstrations for next talks. So just keep it in your mind.
Yeah, I shared a couple of requests on Falco that are still needed for Falco artifacts for ARM64, and then the last step will be DriverKit support for ARM64. Everything is open. We just need time to test it, merge it, and be sure that everything works fine. Again, I hope that a patch release will be available for these. Fingers crossed.
I agree with Fed.
For the 0.32, when do you think the release will be out?
I'm currently targeting the 3rd of January.
Okay.
Let's hope that we will make it, but I guess so.
There's a minor point about the release that we didn't mention. Me and Leo released yesterday the plugin SDK Go, which is now in a stable in a stable version, and is compatible with the new plugin API version that will be released in the new Falco version. So in the time frame from now until the release of Falco, which will be probably in 1 week from now, if you compile the plugins with the latest SDK version, will probably not work with previous Falco versions, because we bumped the major version of the plugin API due to many breaking changes that were happening. Good news is that if we did the job correctly, this should not happen anymore in future versions.
Okay, this is a good point. We have to check that. I will do some tests with my own plugins right after.
Oh,
next week.
Yeah, and plus we also migrated and updated most of the documentation, both on the website and in the plugins repository, and that will be probably merged after the Falco release, obviously. And there will be, we still have to write it, but there will be a migration guide for the plugin SDK Go 0.20 to the 0.30 that we just released. There are just few points, but it's worth creating a little tutorial for it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that, but the migration is very simple, because it's just update the SDK, and in case there is a method signature that was changed, but it's a good idea to include it maybe in the release blog post.
Yeah. I was asking for that, because especially we have some already written blog posts about plugins, how to write what are plugins. They must be updated.
Yeah, and by the way, since we have the plugin registry, I would like to help all the plugin authors that maybe don't have time to update their plugin. For example, I did this with the plugin that Alban made.
Yeah.
The Kinvolk organization. I just created a draft request. I don't know if you know there are other plugins around. Maybe we can just help our authors update their plugin, since this is a breaking change we introduced.
I think the guys from Turkey created one.
Is that developer guy?
Yeah, and the others for Okta, Twitter, or Docker, I am the author, so I will be able to update them myself.
We took care of it already. All the ones that are under the Falco Security Organization, we already mapped the SDK version properly.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, the plugin from developer guy is not yet in the registry.
No, exactly.
Maybe we should contact him, because I believe their plugin is valuable. So they just have to register to get a unique ID.
Yeah, sure. some requirements were missing in their PR. This is why they still
Okay.
haven't been registered in the plugin
Yeah.
repository.
But we can help them. By the way, we can help everyone who wants to write a plugin.
Sure, sure.
Just contact us.
As long
I
as
know-
it's the same. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
No, sorry. I'm going to write the point after and go on.
No, I was just saying, as long as the changes are not really big, it will be quick, and we have to do this now to avoid issues in the future. That's all. That's all.
I'm going to add it in the agenda right now, but I just wanted to, to give the minor news that there is now a public plugin which was donated today for a GitHub integration. So basically, Falco will now be able to listen to GitHub webhooks, and there's also a default rule set for this, trying to monitor suspicious activity in your GitHub organization. So that's cool. It will probably require some work in order to be in good shape, but at least that's the news.
I mentioned that. Yeah.
And by the way, last thing, Jason, we updated the best practice for writing a plugin. And one thing that I really like is our recommended directory structure for plugin. I will just copy and paste the link in the HackMD. Maybe it's useful for folks.
Maybe next week or in 2 weeks, I will write a blog post about advanced patterns to write a plugin.
Yeah.
So basically,
Exactly.
this kind of topic, how to structure a plugin, how to avoid unmarshalling of JSON, of the same JSON several times, how to deal with the configuration based on a JSON schema, not by mapping of directly fields and Golang structure. So technically, I will read your best practice article and
Exactly.
adapt it in a blog post.
And by the way, if you can always link this file, because this this best practice.md is like the official place for recommendation.
Sure, exactly.
Thank you.
Sure, it will always link the exact section of the documentation.
And of course, if someone has feedback, just feel free to open an issue, contact us on the Slack channel or everything where you want.
And I was thinking, Leo, you know already what I'm saying, but I would like to propose a kind of libraries of modules for the plugins in Go. Basically, if your plugins need to be connected to a Kafka or to create a web server to receive events, you don't have to write the code yourself. You just have to import the module and your plugin will be already ready. You just have to be focused on the logic for the extractions of fields. So basically, this is a reverse of Falco Sidekick. Falco Sidekick is able to send, and the idea is to allow people to receive. It will be really viable, and maybe we could have more and more plugins with that kind of system. For example, a web server will be useful for GitHub events, for audit logs for Kubernetes, anything of any kind of system which is able to push events through HTTP. So this kind of thing could be nice for plugin writers, and we can prioritize which ones we want first.
Yeah. As I already said to you privately, I like your idea, although I'm not yet able to imagine the shape of these components, not yet. But for example, with this update of the best practice, we're trying to go in that direction because, for example, we now encourage folks to use to write package in a way that are easily reusable. Okay.
Exactly.
For example, the Kubernetes plugin. Okay, it's I think it's really well written. Thanks to Jason that did the hard work, by the way, and it can be used for I don't know, for example, for write another plugin that ingests the data from GKE or Cloud Tray that ingests audit log from there.
Exactly. We can reuse his work for the extraction of fields because the structures of audit logs for communities is always the same, whatever the source is. And he has also written a web server in his plugin to receive audit logs from Kubernetes control plane directly. So we can reuse that part to create as a web server for any kind of new events from any source. I think you agree, Jason.
Yeah, actually the Kubernetes audit log part about opening an event source still need to be refactored a bit. And honestly, I think I can receive some feedback on this. It will be very welcome. But I think the best way to do this is to provide pre-built way to open event sources inside the plugin SDK itself, because we see some very common patterns, and basically everyone tries to do like a polling model in which you call a function repeatedly, or you wait for a channel. So these two use cases, I think we should address them in the plugin SDK Go. Eventually, if we do that, we can remove that part of the code from the Kubernetes audit log implementation. But most of that code, especially the extraction part, could potentially be reused to implement support to Kubernetes event. For example, other cloud providers, like creating native integration for EKS, AKS, GKE, and all this sort of stuff by using all the code. In my dreams, we will also be able to reuse the JSON plugin as much as possible, but it's still hard to figure out how each plugin uses JSON format. So, but yeah, I think we are in the good route, and we're experimenting a little bit.
I'm waiting for some feedback. In KubeCon, a lot of different companies agreed to write plugin for their own system, but I have a good expectation from HashiCorp. They would like to create their own plugin for Vault, and I sent to them the whole documentation we have, the all blog posts we have, and they told me they will take a look maybe next week, because we have some off days, especially in Europe, tomorrow and Friday. So let's wait, and I hope. So anybody else has something to say? Or okay, no, I have a last item for today. The CI for the M chart is blocked for days now. I don't know why, but we can't merge any chart in any update of the charts currently. This is really, I don't really know what the root cause is, to be honest. It fails. Okay, I can show you maybe.
Yeah, I saw that basically we have a job that it's an integration test that set up a full Kubernetes cluster just to install the chart, and I don't know why basically the scheduler is not able to
Basically
allocate nodes. Basically, it say there are no nodes available.
Exactly.
Yeah. This was set up by Carlos, I remember. Indeed, I added him in CC. Maybe he knows. Maybe I don't know. Otherwise, I will try to debug.
We don't have a lot of details, to be honest, because as it creates a new Kubernetes clusters with few nodes. I don't remember how much, but as long as these nodes are not available, we can't deploy the M chart. And as we don't have any details because it's not interactive, we don't. It's hard to debug and know what's happening at the node level.
Yeah, with Circle CI we can run the test in SSH mode and enter inside the container, but it took a lot of time. I don't know if they updated something or maybe we updated the Kubernetes version without even noticing it. I don't know.
I really don't know.
Likely is something really stupid as usual, but we don't know yet. I believe I don't have enough time this week, but in case Carlos is not able to solve the issue, I will take a look starting from next week. Also because I know that immediately after the release, we have to release the chat, so we have to fix it very soon.
I have big release because I released Falco Psychic and Falco Psychic UI the week before KubeCon, two major versions. And my PR is to update the mchart for Falco Psychic and Psychic UI and let people install it. Right now, they are not able to do so just by changing the tag version, because for Falco Psychic UI, everything changed. Now we have a stateful set for Redis, etc. So basically, I'm blocked right now, and even if my PR seems to work, I can't merge it.
By the way, I'm seeing from the log under the toleration that basically the node is basically not read within 30-100 seconds. Maybe it's only this issue. Is it too slow? Is it too slow?
No, I don't know.
Actually, the log says that there's a taint in nodes.
Yeah, where?
It's like when they created the node, they added something to it.
Okay. Add taints, yeah. Okay. That the pod didn't tolerate.
I don't know if the taint is not just not ready, no execute. This kind of toleration.
It may be possible that basically the node is not ready, and the API server say that of course the pod doesn't tolerate that the node is not ready.
Exactly.
It seems stupid, but I think it's possible.
Maybe we have to wait more. The timeout seems to be right after 15 minutes. Maybe if we can add more times, it would be okay. But
yeah. By the way, a topic that is a bit related. We are noticing a lot of issue with the Circle CI because they are having a lot of problems. For example, this afternoon, everything returned 404 without any reason. And we are trying to encourage project maintainer to move stuff from Circle CI to GitHub Action or to Pro. In our idea basically was that everything that is core, like releasing artifact or I don't know, building the driver, could be handled by Pro in our test infra. Everything else can be done on GitHub Action. And for example, Federico already migrated some not required tests in the Falco repository from Circle CI to GitHub Action. If someone is willing to help with that, just ping us, because there is a lot of work to do to migrate the stuff. Thank you.
So I think we can close the call of today. We have the traditional last question. Who wants to be the MC for next week? Don't be so shy. I think Aldo could be the next one.
Yeah, Aldo. I agree. My vote goes for Aldo.
Okay. Thank you, Aldo.
Oh, you're welcome.
You are a volunteer. So have a great week. Enjoy your day off if you can. So thank you, everybody.